Hi everybody, Daniel and David from Ateret Kohanim. We're here to discuss today's current events in relationship to Yerushalayim, Geula, and settling Eretz Yisrael. B'ezrat Hashem, everybody coming home to the land of our forefathers.
Amen, amen.
What are your thoughts on the current ceasefire negotiations and the war? And I mean, every day there's another piece of news.
Listen, there's a lot of unknowns here. You know, there are a lot of people speculating what is being said by Trump, what's being said by Netanyahu, what are they saying together, what's being fed to the press, what really is happening behind the scenes. And sometimes we only know in retrospect. It's like, we always talk about Hakol Tova. And sometimes you don't see it in the beginning, and only when something happens a bit later, now I understand why this had to happen. There's no question that Netanyahu and Trump want the best for the Jewish people. I believe that deep down inside. Both of them are very, very much in tune with what's happening on the ground. They understand what is hatred. They know that Hamas has to be destroyed. And just like Huckabee said, and Trump said the same, they're all saying the same things. The day after can't be Hamas. The question is, what happens between now and then? Are there sacrifices? Should there be any sacrifice? I mean, the soldiers at the forefront. In some ways, because we're not bombing, we're not going in like Iran and Hezbollah because of the hostages, we're basically saying the life of a hostage, in some ways, is way up there, and a soldier, we're not sure. It's a very problematic situation because soldiers are being killed because, in some ways, we can't necessarily go in and do what's necessary. And every time there's a peace treaty, every time there's a talk about maybe a transfer of hostages, we're leaving areas that we've gone in. There's booby-trapping areas, they're planting mines, they're getting ready. And then when the soldiers go back again, the soldiers are being killed. So the whole concept of the way we're, in some ways maybe being forced to accept the dictates of America, I hope it's not too much. I want Netanyahu, and I think everyone would like him to stand firm. I know that he wants to do the good for Israel, but at the same time, he wants peace. But peace can't happen so quickly. And it shouldn't be at the expense of not a single soldier.
That's right.
It's, it kills. I mean, this is something shocking. We're going out. So now, is he going to go out through the Morad corridor? The Morad corridor is a very, very fascinating thing. And I hope he's not going to give up on that. Just for people who don't know, between the Philadelphia corridor, which is right against the Egyptian border, and further into Gaza, so to speak, there is now a buffer zone. There's a safe zone which has been cleared of Hamas, of these animals, of these terrorists, of these mines, about everything, even the tunnels. And Israel has to keep hold of that, because if they don't, first of all, there's nowhere for all the Arabs to go anywhere. This is a safe zone for them to go in order for us to clean up the mess everywhere else. So if Israel backs off of that just to get back 10 hostages, it's really problematic. There's a lot of people, including some of the hostages, that are saying, no, don't go for this short deal, it's all or none.
Yes, sir.
We've done so much. We've crushed Iran. We've set them back a few years. They've got no support base now from Iran. Hezbollah is not with them. They're by themselves. Their own generals have left them. Their leaders have been killed. There's a bunch, who knows how many, I don't know if there's hundreds or thousands still around of Hamasikim, but why are we bargaining in such a way? It should be all or none. You don't, then we go in even stronger. Of course, we're caught in a bind because of the hostages. Everything comes down to the hostages at the end of the day. The life of the hostages.
But it could also be Saudi Arabia. Saudi wants to end the war also. So they're using the hostages as leverage to force Trump to force us to end the war.
Well, they don't want Hamas either.
Yeah, they don't want Hamas either, but they also want this to quiet down. This is getting to the point where.
What I would like to see, and I don't know whether it's realistic, everyone's really talking about leaving by, leaving by themselves. We're not talking about transfer, God forbid, it's a word we can't use. Voluntarily leaving the jurisdiction. And why isn't Egypt opening its borders? Why in a year and a half are all the poor Arabs in the world, not one European nation, the Chatzufim in Europe, why aren't they screaming to Egypt to open your borders? There are people that need help. There are people that need out. Their houses are destroyed. The towns are destroyed. Take them in, even temporarily, that we can talk about afterwards. But if Trump has got so much pressure, then why aren't they pressuring Egypt to open the borders?
It's true. I mean, I read something today that says Egypt's the one that's against the Morag corridor. They don't want a bunch of Gazans sitting right on their border. They're moved down there. They're very nervous about that.
So what about, they want to leave the tunnels? Israel got rid of all the tunnels. They had tunnels the size of 3 of these rooms they could drive trucks in. There were a dozen or 20 of these tunnels coming from Egypt, a kilometre or two, that people were driving in. Missiles, rockets, machinery, whatever they wanted, coming on huge trucks. So what Egypt talking about? America? If they don't think about this carefully, they could be in trouble also. Because China is moving in, muscling their way in by supplying weapons to Egypt. It's, I saw that recently. That's very problematic. If America doesn't put pressure on, they have to start the ball rolling about this voluntary movement out of the Arabs. Now's the perfect time. There's no towns. It's all destroyed. Start moving.
But they said that's the real reason why we want to hold on to the Morag corridor. So we want to move 600,000 Gazans there, and then from there they'll be offered a chance to go somewhere else. That's the idea.
They need a Moshe Rabbeinu. They need a Moshe Rabbeinu to start moving and taking them out. It's like, take them on the move. What's so wrong? Listen, let's remind everyone, whoever watches this, let's remind everyone, there is no Palestinian people. There's no Palestinian culture. There's no Palestinian heritage or history. There's never ever been an Arab Palestinian state with a capital. This whole talk of Oslo and 2 states is dead and gone. And thank God that Trump is talking about something else. But it's time for the Arab nations to start moving to deal with the refugee problem that was never dealt with. 1948 and 1967. And now we've got 2 million or 1.8 million, whatever's still left there. It has to be dealt with. They can't go back to their towns. Israel's not going to allow them to be on their back doorsteps. Igi Azman?
I mean, it looked like, you should frame it for the viewer this way. Beit Hanun, which they're fighting now, is 1 kilometer from the border. 1 kilometer, right? So it's within the belt, security belt that Israel wants to permanently establish there. So they're never going to be able to go back there.
What's taking so long? What's taking so long? We're in Iran for 2 6-day wars, for 12 days. Hezbollah, a laughing stock. A beeper here, a beeper there, a walkie-talkie here, a walkie-talkie there. They're totally gone. Nasrallah, heads of this, scientists. Amazing.
It goes back to 2005. If you fight a winter war and clear them out, what is the government basically saying? The root cause of it on October 7th was 2005. And they don't want to admit that. I don't think Bibi was halfway against it, right? I don't think the current government, the military bureaucracy here was supportive of that pull-out.
Too much, and they're still there.
Right.
Some of the heads of the army, the same concept, and that has to change.
Right.
There's a new guy at the top, and there's still 200 people under him. We can't do this, we can't win. Victory, all the way, probably. I'm not a Chabadnik, although they say that everyone's really a Chabadnik, maybe deep down. I'm not a Chabadnik. And the Rebbe said, finish, finish.
Yeah. So I believe it's a psychological, egotistical, very deep part of themselves. If they do it, they have to admit that was the root cause. That they themselves are at fault.
Anyway, Oslo is dead. They'll have to admit it one way or another. We are changing the Middle East. People have to stop and think for a second what's taking place. We don't have as many powerful enemies on our back doorstep, on our borders anymore. There's going to be another 30, 40 years, 50 years, who knows how much even longer. And if they change their educational system, if America do what they want, and we relocate all these Arabs that have been used badly, shockingly for their own, for the Arabs' purposes as a political pawn, if that changes, this is going to be amazing. I would start buying property now. Maybe people should start buying in the old city. What do you say? Should we start buying in the old city? Like in Shiloach, anyone watching this is the time, real estate. Right. Start thinking ahead. Mind you could think ahead for Gaza, but in the meantime, you want a sure bet? Yerushalayim. El Aqsa, they want El Aqsa, we want Yerushalayim. But that means all of you are now, with this newest thing of Bet Run, I tell you, in 35 years, we haven't had such a thing. It's 25 minutes away from Kodesh Kodeshim. Karlina's already run, the Shaw family's already run, all these people, because there was a Beit Knesset there was a winery in this building. Menachem Mendel ran this most phenomenal complex. Today I took the first American group to the Rand complex. They were blown away. They're on the rooftop. this is so close to Harabay. I was like, I can't believe where I'm standing. It's as though you could touch, God forbid, the Golden Dome and lift it up and have a look at the Eben HaShtiyah.
Meters away.
Yeah, it's like that. Menachem Mendel Rand, he was a guy made Aliyah too late in life, but he said when the Mashiach comes, I want to be close. So he bought this property, which was 1,300 meters. I'm not even sure we know the exact meters, including this Shaw winery. The Shaw family is berserk. I mean, I'm talking about a family where the children, every child had anything from 9 to 16 children right across the board. It's one of the biggest trees I've ever seen. Had a winery there, the Karli Chassidim had a Beit Knesset there. And we're going to, God willing, hopefully be able to manage more of the Rand complex and see a lot more Jewish life there. There's still a lot to do in the Shiloh. I remind everyone. The Beit Knesset, the Lamb Beit Knesset and Heritage Center, that needs to be, we need people for the women's gallery and for the furnishings. Work needs to be done there. And anyone who wants to be involved, the last thing, just to throw in a little bit of a project, 2 projects in Kidmat Zion. Kidmat Zion, the most significant neighborhood east of the Har HaZeitzim, opposite Abu Dis. We're trying to build 384 units there. A tourist project to bring people there with a little bit of a waterfall, a wading pool, picnic area. And we have to build a bomb shelter. There's no bomb shelter. There's nothing for the families there. So we're going to do a bomb shelter the size of a Beit Knesset, a big communal one that'll double up as a Beit Knesset. Projects for people to do.
Please God.
Please God.